with respect to chemicals, drugs, agrochemicals, and biochemistry fields. Her work involves to examine the applications on the basis of merit of the cases and accordingly give necessary decision on the filed applications. She regularly works with pre-grant opposition, post-grant opposition of the patent applications. She has also worked for a brief period in the patent office with the PCT cell, wherein international filing of patent application is processed. She holds law degree and also PhD in biological sciences, and she was also associated with CSIR for 3 years while she was carrying out research activity. So with this brief background, now I welcome Sweta to our program, and we are very much thankful to you for accepting our invitation. We understand that being at the patent office, you are always loaded with lot of works, lot of queries. People would be calling you regularly, but in spite of that schedule, you could find some time to give your inputs to our participants. Sweta, welcome you again, and now the session is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Pavankumar, for putting such humble words there. I thank you for inviting me for this talk. I really like to share whatever experience I have gained in past few years. And I thank Controller General of Patents and Designs, Trademark, Dr. Unnat P. Pandit sir, and Dr. Mohanty, our head of the office, for permitting me to deliver this lecture before all of you. So, namaste. Good afternoon to all the people here. And the topic given to me is today patent drafting, disclosure versus claims. So basically patent drafting is a very skillful thing, which is not really my part, but whatever is part of the patent office where we consider what is required in the disclosure and what is required in the claims. That part I will be discussing from patent office point of view in this lecture. So thank you, and I'll start with the lecture. So these are some of the simple things to start with, for which the patent has been granted earlier. The Coke can opener, simple needle, how the improvement took in the needle and how the machine needle came, and different improvements on the technical aspect, and the patents were granted for these simple things. I believe all of you would have gone through this definition so many times, and there's nothing new in this definition as of now. But still, I would like to revise this application for all of you for one reason. A monopoly right granted to the inventor or his assignee by the government for exclusive use of the invention for a limited period of 20 years. Patent is a territorial right and it is applicable only within the country. Now, what is basically written here is a monopoly right granted to the inventor or his assignee by the government for exclusive use of the invention for a limited period of time. But in return, the application which is filed by the applicant, he has to disclose the application completely. That what the government expects from the applicant, that when you are disclosing the application to the government, wherever you are filing the patent, it should be a complete disclosure. So right from the definitions, some terms I will be revising here just for because to understand the further things, these terms are required. An invention or technology which has not been anticipated by the publication. Anticipated means it is not anywhere published in any document or used in any country or elsewhere. It's an absolute novelty when it is considered before the date of filing of the patent application with complete specification. An invention is defined as a new product or a process involving an inventive step and capable of industrial application. Now, what is inventive step? Inventive step is a feature of an invention that involves a technical advancement as compared to existing knowledge or having economical significance or both, and that makes the invention not obvious to a person skilled in the art. Now, you might be thinking, what disclosure? I don't know how many participants are from the patent filing side in the people who are participating here, but they might be they might be knowing about the patent drafting part, but the people who are in research, basically they do their research and they are never much keen on knowing what a complete disclosure means. So for them it is necessary as to how your simple data which you have worked on, or whatever plant or whatever sequence or whatever drug or whatever molecule you are working on, those simple tables and simple day-to-day data that you log in for your work, those simple tables sometimes help in the specification when you're filing. So the patent law requires a disclosure of the structure of the invention, how to make and use it, and the best mode of the invention. Patent applications are typically published 18 months after the filing, and in any event upon the issue. Some of these are earlier publication process has also started, so there are forms for earlier publication, and you can file the required fees, and earlier publication is also possible now. An applicant is free to disclose the invention anytime after the application is filed without jeopardizing the patentability. So once he has filed the application, the applicant, they can disclose it anywhere, they can publish it also, they can do whatever, but before filing the patent application, it is advisable not to publish it or present it anywhere. Now, what is patent disclosure? Patent disclosure is a public claim of the data about an invention. It is any part of the patenting process in which the data regarding an invention is disclosed. A good disclosure tells someone else how to create that product. I mean, when you are giving your disclosure as to the best mode of your invention has to be presented. So a typical complete specification when you are filing, it has a technical part, it has the disclosure, and it has the patent which comprises of the patent specification. I'll be discussing on to what under what heads the patent specification is presented. And then there is the exclusive right part, that is the claims. In the disclosure part, you always present the prior art which is there, the state of art which is there already before your claimed invention, and the problem which that a person is facing with that in prior art, and then whatever technical improvement has been contributed by the applicant, that is yourself, to file this patent specification and the application. So what includes in the disclosure is the specification. A primary disclosure or a specification is a main document in the patent application. The enablement. Now this explains how to create the object and how someone in the field can do so. This enablement part is really important here, because what happens is that very vaguely sometimes the description in the complete specification is given, and without actually disclosing as to how that object or how that product or how that process has actually been worked out. So that enablement part is very necessary. Usually when it comes to disclosure and claims, they cannot be verses. They are basically very coherent in their structure. So if the claim is not supported by your disclosure, the claim will not be granted. So they work in a coherence. They can never be verses. So and then of course you come to the best mode of requirement, that is the best mode through which that product has been obtained, or the best mode that product is worked upon. The working example should be there. And then the claim part comes, wherein this tells the reader the exclusive right the patent offers to the inventor, and this explains the item or the part of the object that is special. So I believe all of you know what is specification. whether it's a provisional specification or a complete specification. I believe provisional specification is the one in which you don't have to file the claims part, and you usually file it just to secure the priority date. Within 12 months, you have to file the complete specification, or else if your invention is completely worked out, you know what you are filing, what you have worked upon, you can file it with the complete specification, which includes the title of the invention, fields and use of the invention, prior art, drawbacks of the prior art, which I was discussing earlier, comparison between the prior art and the present invention, sufficient disclosure of the invention with summary of the invention, and detailed description of the drawings and working examples along with the claims. So when it comes to content of the description, I have that drawing slide which I had given, it is relating to this, so that only that background of the invention has to be given in the description, what background it is, what actually is about that invention. Then the prior art of that invention, of course, you would have referred to some journals, some earlier patent applications to make the certain improvement in what you are working upon. So all those prior arts should be discussed. It is always to disclose, it's better to disclose all those prior arts, because once they are in your prior art disclosure, it actually saves you that you have already disclosed it and you have worked in the improvement one step ahead of all this. Then disclosure of the invention, including with the reference to the drawing. Then best mode, the applicant is required to disclose the best mode of performing the invention with some working example. I'll be discussing on this. This is just to touch the topic what I'll be discussing. And the claims, one or more claims defining the scope of the invention. I have referred to certain examples where certain things I'll be discussing it to you. See, drawings also play a very important part in the complete specification. The drawings, if any, form the part of the provisional or complete specification, should be clearly defined there under the Rule 15 of the Patents Act. This is one of the drawings which Thomas Alva Edison, while he filed for the patent bulb, was given. So I just got a calendar from some firm, and then this drawing was there. So I put it in the slides. Then even you can give any like a purse or something, the reference numerals which you are mentioning there, those reference numerals, you can put it in the drawings, and those reference numerals can be discussed in your description. With the help of those reference numerals, you can define the device, whatever you're claiming for. These are simple drawings I'm saying. The flow charts which you make, they also become a part of the drawing. Now this is a flow chart, very simple flow chart is there, powdering each of the herbs, steam distillation of a kori, combining the herbs. So there was nothing much, but they just a stepwise flow diagram they had given to explain as to what the steps of the process which they were claiming. So even the mechanical part, like how the spring is working. Now he's holding through the hands and showing how it is working. The hand is not the part of the specification. It's just to show how it works. So that they are trying to show through the drawings. These are very early drawings, earlier when the patents used to be filed. The present day drawings are very nice. I mean, they are all colored, computerized drawings. So drawing should makes the specification more supportive, and it always helps, especially in the case of devices and mechanical engineering applications. Then this is the example of the abstract. An abstract also is a part of the specification. This is abstract which is usually given in 50 to 150 words. And this is the abstract of a liquid detergent formulation containing peroxide and a metal-based bleach catalyst. So they have mentioned the composition comprises a peroxide-based bleaching agent, water, metal catalyst, and a polyol. The polyol is a secondary solvent that promotes peroxide stability in the presence of a catalyst. Now this was a property which actually was there main characterized part. So they have mentioned it in the abstract. Before coming to what patent applications are, certain formalities are very much required. I believe this all has been discussed, but this is a part of the disclosure actually. So I'll be discussing it, that if you are dealing with the microbiological organisms, then you will have to submit it in the International Depository Authority under the Budapest Treaty. The source and the geographical origin of the biological material has to be given. And then if you are using certain plants from India on which you are working, any herb, any plant material, biological material, living material, where you which you are using in it in your any of the products, like somebody was using the recently there was an application where they were using the leaves of big leaves of that plant is used to make paper plates. Not the paper plates, the disposable plates. So that invention was granted on that they had seek the permission from National Biodiversity Authority of India, which is in Chennai, that because there is some benefit sharing with the local people, and there is a share, there is a total contract with the NBA, that is the government and the applicant, and whoever from wherever area that plant is being used. And of course, the sequence listing of the nucleotides and amino acids has to be submitted in the electronic form. NBA requirement I've already discussed. So coming to the claims have basically three parts: the objective, the content, and the format. So the objective part of the claims is to define clearly and precisely the exclusive right required, to define the scope of the invention, to define various necessary, preferred, and optional features of the invention. The content of the claim should be fairly based on the matter disclosed in the specification. Now, this line which I'm reading is that should be fairly based on the matter disclosed in the specification is very important. I'll be discussing it in the examples which I have put in there. Then first claim is called a principal claim, and as subsequent are called the preferred embodiments. The principal claim should define all the essential novel features with their interconnection. Optional features may be given in subsequent claim, and it should comply with requirements of course, Section 21J, Section 3, that is non-patentable subject matter, Section 4, atomic energy, and Section 10, that is sufficiency of disclosure and unity of invention. Then format of the claims it must be as it can be any much in number, but usually till 10 claims there is no fees. If it is more than 10 claims, then it is chargeable, and the claim should relate to a single invention, that is the single inventive concept. A claim should be barely based on the matter disclosed in the specification. So what topics I'll be discussing is basically the structure of the claim. Every claim has a very essential and a non-essential feature. The functionality of the claim. Sometimes the claims are defined with their functionality, like a sequence ID such and such for inhibiting bollworms in the cotton plant. Now they are claiming for a sequence ID, but they're defining the sequence ID with the functionality. Then of course the product claims are there: the device, the machine, the battery, the textile products, the pharmaceutical products. Now the pharmaceutical products basically have the new chemical entities, the formulation and compositions, combinations, dosage, and dose forms. Usually they are not granted, but if there are the claims, if I talk in general of internationally filed claims, there are claims for combinations also, dosage also, and dose also, and new forms of a known substance. Now, new forms of a known substance, if you have gone through under Section 3D of the Patent Acts, there are certain forms which are not allowable, like the polymorph, the metabolites form, the isomers, so esters, the solvents. So they have to be worked upon with a improved or a surprising activity, then only they are proceeded for grant. But the claims are drafted in the form of new form of a known substance. Then there are kits which are present. Product by process claims are there. Then process and method of manufacturings are there. New property, new use of a known substance is also there. It's not in India, but second use is usually is sometimes granted. If it's a second medicinal use, it may not be granted in EP, but sometimes if it is workable, it may be granted in some other countries. Then method of treatment not granted in EP and India, but still there are claims for method of treatment, and they are granted in certain countries. Then there are selection inventions relating to a product and a process. Now, this is one simple example of a bottle. It's a spray bottle, which the bottle itself. Now, the claims are defined as the bottle itself, the chemical in the plastic, which is used, that plastic which is used for the bottle, that is the chemical composition of that plastic was also claimed. The spraying mechanism, that is the apparatus, was claimed. And how you extruded the plastic was also claimed. So the claims were drafted almost, there were 40-50 claims, wherein there was first the bottle, then the chemical composition of that thing was there, the spraying mechanism was there. Now, of course, we will go to the legalities, whether what was granted and what was not granted is a different thing. But usually when the applicant files, they file it in this manner. Then similarly, gene sequence, these are all example purpose. They have nothing to do with any application or something. So they are just for specimen purpose. Then new gene sequence, a method of expressing that gene sequence, an antibody made from to the protein of that sequence A, and a kit made from that antibody to that sequence A. So this is how the claims drafted, and they are given in the application. Structural part of the claim as to what type of usually claims come. Now, a pharmaceutical composition comprising an active ingredient, an oxidant, and a stabilizer. Now, this is if everybody is listening, can somebody speak here? There are two words which are similar claims. One is comprising, one is consisting. I think if there is anybody who can point out what is there. Comprising is a open claim here, basically, wherein you can incorporate further things also in that claim. It's an open claim. This consisting, when it comes, it closes by the patent office was that the pharmaceutical composition consisting an active ingredient, after incorporating whatever the percentage was there of the composition, an oxidant and a stabilizer. Hello, Dr. Pavan Kumar.
Yes, Sweta. Yes.
So is there anybody? I mean, if I just wanted to say that if somebody wants to ask something, because I can't see it on my screen right now, it's totally the slides only.
Yes, so, I can understand. What happens is people who are joining in YouTube, they cannot speak to you. And
okay.
Maybe we'll ask them to put that in the chat box so that I can quickly take them and pass on to you. And
yes, sure. So should I put it on the other part of the slide mode? But I don't think so. This is
no.
This is okay. But
you can announce for the responses. Whatever responses I see, I will take them from the YouTube chat.
You can mention. Yes. You can mention.
Yes.
The thing is, I just want that it will be very boring for them to listen this, because if they are able to ask me something, it will be more beneficial. Because this is whatever I could prepare from the slides at here at home only, na. So whatever best possible is there, we are doing. But the thing is, still, if they are able to interact with me, na, it will be more beneficial for me also, as to where where I'm lacking actually in explaining that as well. Because I believe there was a lecture for structure and function of the claim. So so that part was covered with the.
No, I think the way you are conducting this session is totally different. There is no any overlapping.
Because this is the patent office side, basically. Yes. What I'm
And what happened is there were some technical issues. So claim structure, earlier session which was on claim structure, we could not do it fully. Only for 10 minutes it happened. Later on, I had to engage with some other exercises. So therefore, so you can continue with this.
Okay, sure. Okay, I mean, if there is any question, you can ask me.
There are many appreciations for you in the chat box. As such, I am not finding any query right now. But participants, please, if you have any query to be discussed while the session is going on, please post them in the chat box. As and when I look at that, I will convey this to Dr. Sweta so that she will answer.
Yes. To the best of the knowledge I have for this, I'll be able to answer. If it is, especially if they are related to pharma and of course biotechnology patents. Mechanical engineering patents are little different applications. So electrical and mechanical is not my genre. I've never worked in with okay. So typically, this is the format of a device claim. Device, usually we get only water purification devices and certain other devices. Usually the device goes to mechanical application. Even the textile part goes to the mechanical applications. So here I just wanted to suggest that device reference numeral should be, when you're defining a device, the reference numeral should be there. The reference numerals usually help in defining that device more clearly. If you remember earlier in my slides, I had shown a drawing where the reference numerals were there. So reference numerals are very important in the drawing when you're explaining the drawing. These are the typical device claims. A device comprising such and such feature characterized in that, a device as claimed in claim 1. Now the dependent claim, the preferred embodiment is further defined after making it dependent on the first independent claim, that is the claim 1. Now the preamble reads a device. The preamble part is every claim has two parts, the preamble part and the main feature. So the main preamble is the device, a sequence. We usually start with the preamble. Sometimes they say a process, a product, a composition. So that is the preamble part. And further, what you comprising whatever features it has. And of course, these are all essential parts. The characterized part is the most essential part of the claim. The device as claimed in claim 1, then the device as claimed in claim 1 and 2. Now this third claim is again dependent on claim 1 and claim 2 both, because the claim 2 might be defining certain feature which would be very different from the claim 1. Usually we, but because it is dependent on claim 1, it will be allowed. But depending on whatever examination has been conducted by the office, and depending on what invention it is, multiple dependency sometimes is not allowable also. But here it is very specific that it is dependent on claim 1 or 2. Now this sometimes this creates a little doubt. Claim 1 or 2, it should be either claim 1 and claim 2, or it should be just claim 1. And if the preferred feature is in claim 2, then he should have made it dependent, or she should have made it dependent on claim 2. So there are very small things. These are formal requirements. Sometimes they are mentioned in the formal requirements of when the FER, that is the first examination report, is issued. But usually it is the technical invention which is examined by the examiner more categorically. So I'll be discussing one case study here. It's a very simple device because this was the most simple one which I had actually on record. Otherwise, usually very complicated comes. This is a foldable pen. The pen, it folds into a pen when it is to be used, and it opens up and you can use it as a bookmark or something. So this is the figure 2 of this. I had to put this one because this drawing was more relevant to make it understand. This was the figure 2 where the person is holding the pen and it folds into a triangle, into a prism kind of a structure. And you again see there are several reference numerals given there to explain the surface as to how this folding things works. This is how it opens. This is the drawing when it opens. I hope it is clear to everyone. Once it opens, it is in this form. The reference numeral is 3, and of course other reference numerals. The plane has been explained. The in the figure 3, the transverse section of that the transfer section, that is the third 3 where it has been cut, figure 3 has been made. There are 3 figures basically. Figure 1, the first one which I showed was figure 2, and this is figure 3. Sometimes they are so good in the drawings that only with the drawings you can understand what invention it is. You don't need to sometimes read the disclosure also. But of course, there are several facts which are given in the disclosure. I am mentioning it for mechanical devices basically. So this is the complete specification. This is the cover page, how it is filed in the Indian Patent Office, wherein this complete specification, earlier when the hard copy was filed, this was the structure. Before that, it was, now it is all electronic, so no, not a problem. Then this is the complete disclosure which is given about this invention, that they have mentioned the field of invention, that is the background, before mentioning the background of the invention, that the present invention relates to a foldable pen which lies flat when it is not being used for writing and can be used as a bookmark when unfolded, and when the pen is to be used for writing, it folds into a triangular prism so that it can be easily grasped by the hand. Very simply, they have described the invention. It's a very, invention can be a very simple one. To consider it for patent, it should only have that it can be a very simple invention, but it will be useful. Uska, it has a economical significance, industrial application, of course, with novelty and inventive step, which are the very essential part for a patent to be granted. And if it is making any difference in somebody's life, then it does hold to be granted a patent. Then background of the invention explains that pens of the state of the art have a barrel which have generally either a circular, hexagonal, or a triangular cross-sectional area, while pens with barrels of these shapes are easy to hold when they are being used for writing. These barrels also have certain disadvantages due to their thickness and shape. Very simple words, he has explained the background of the invention. When a person such as a student is using the pen, this is all background. In only in the background he has explained all this, the disadvantages of the prior art. See, when the person such as a student is using the pen to make the notes of the contents of the book, it is not uncommon for a person to use the pen as a bookmark, but due to thickness of the barrel, damage to the book can occur. Whatever simple explanation that student can give was given. Furthermore, while it is possible to put writing such as advertising on the exterior of the barrels of the pen of the state of art, their shapes do not make easy to do so. See, the design of the pen would have been registered as a design separately also. One thing I would say, for a tip, it's a simple invention because it has a technical part in it. The patent was granted, but the design of the pen, if it is a triangular prism made from certain material, that the person would have registered the design also. And of course, if it was only with one single company, it would have a trademark also. So that is a simple mark which is given to that pen, foldable pen, F pen, whatever name they would have given it. So there are 3 different aspects which for a single invention where, say, 3 different IP rights have been granted. So this is only for the patent right now. I'm just mentioning it that these can be done. Now, summary of the invention after disadvantages set forth, he eliminated, how he has eliminated that he has made this pen where that folds into a shape which can be easily grasped by the hand. Further, if the pen lies flat, it is easier to put writing on its exterior, and writing can be arranged so that it is easier to read. Then it is made from the injection moldings basically, whose barrel is used to make the 3 flat panels. Now, one of the panels is connected by a first hinge. He has described very technical part, second hinge. I don't think so. but I'm just to explain it, I'm reading it second hinge to the opposite of the first panel, and so that's a single plane is formed by the three panels. From the drawing, if you can understand that there are several panels to it. Just a minute, I'll go to the drawing. See, there are panels to it, so those panels get folded. So with the help of the drawings only he is mentioning, and he'll be referring to these drawings in the further. Now this, after coming to the statement of the invention, he has mentioned in the statement of invention the claim one verbatim, word to word, nothing more. On then before a statement of the invention, pen preferably made by injection molding barrels, and thus since the pen lies flat, it can be placed as a bookmark without damaging the book. Then he comes to the statement of invention, and then the brief description of the accompanying drawings. Now he is coming to the drawings in the end, and he has explained the drawings, figure 1, 2, and 3. Now detailed description of all the figures has been given further, and the first panel, how it folds, the writing tape. In the figure 2 again, he has mentioned how the edges 11 and 12, all these are reference numerals. These are all reference numerals which he has used, and how it folds into a triangular prism. Then he is coming to the figure 1, and this is his claim 1. This I'm just for your idea, I'm giving that how simply he has explained all the thing, but the technical part has been explained very nicely. It was drafted very beautifully. It's a simple writing pen, but very beautifully drafted disclosure. And this foldable pen, if you read the claim 1, how nicely it has been, a flat body of quadrilateral shape molded to form two longitudinal depressions, the said depression acting as hinges and defining the three panels. So it's an art. Anybody just cannot write claims. It has to be very experienced people who have been into patent drafting can draft the claims along with that disclosure what they are, and it should be consistent with the disclosure. Whatever claims you are claiming for, it's a exclusive right which is being given, it's the legal part. So it's not necessary that whatever you are disclosing, giving it a disclosure, that has to be claimed. Your claim part can be a very restrictive one, which actually is supported by the working examples there, or the drawings there, or any of the data which you have collected through your research or whatever work you have accompanied with. And then he comes to the second feature, the hollow reservoir located in one of the panels or storing the dispensing ink, a writing tip extending into the reservoir for dispensing the ink. Now this was the principal claim. Then, of course, the preferred embodiments came. The foldable pen has claimed in claim 1, wherein each of the panels is of the same size. And of course, he has come to the further preferred embodiments, whether the pen tip is a ballpoint tip or a felt tip. Then the panel having the hollow reservoir has a venting orifice opening into the hollow reservoir. Only 7 claims were there. Only 7 claims were there, not many claims, very small specification. Of course, for the specimen purpose, some part has not been incorporated, but this was more or less the same thing what he had claimed for. And this I wanted to mention because to understand how basically the disclosure is helping the person to claim what he is wanting. In the statement of invention, the inventor has mentioned the claim 1 verbatim. He has supported his claim with the help of the 3 drawings which he has given. Of course, these drawings are not very clear, but when the hard copy of that application was examined, they were very clear drawings. And then was the signature and all is the second one. And this is the Second claim, which usually the patent applications come for to our office, is for the pharma patents. These are the example for now. This was the earlier part, was the disclosure and the claims, how they have to work in a sync. Now this part is what I will be discussing are the examples as to when when the claims are not considered for grant, when the disclosure is not disclosing certain things. Now this part I will be discussing in the further examples. Now coming to the Marcus structure, I have not put the claim here for the Marcus structure, because Marcus structure claims are like a compound as below, and then there are n number of R1 is selected from phenyl, pyridyl, thiazole, like that it is given. And there are almost sometimes 100 to 3000 pages of the whatever compounds are prepared for single application. So that was not possible, but this is a simple Marcus structure for a certain compound. And this is for a Marcus structure, I would say, I would like to clear one thing, that the best representative compound which is known to the applicant for the possibility of all the possible embodiments should be claimed. First thing. Secondly, the such embodiments share a common use or property. It should not be that half of the compounds are having analgesic property and other are beta blockers. They should have a common use or a common property. Then such possible embodiments share common structure. uh, the structure should not be different, the dependent preferred embodiment compounds. Then physical and chemical properties of the best representative compounds of such embodiments known to the applicant are disclosed. It should not be that your most active compound is not disclosed, and even if it is disclosed, it is not given with the help of the working example. If it is one of the best compound working, then it has to be whatever supporting data and whatever pharmaceutical efficacy it has, that has to be presented in the specification. Then in case of the product claims, at least one process for preparing the compounds has been disclosed, enabling the whole scope of the invention. Moreover, if one of the one to whatever steps I have mentioned are not met with in the Marcus claim, then usually the objections regarding unity of invention and insufficiency of disclosure is raised, depending on whatever support is not given. Suppose if you are not, if you're claiming for some preferred compounds, but there is no data to how they have been obtained and what is their pharmaceutical efficacy, randomly, just because you have said R1 is selected from this and R2 is this, and you have taken the preferred compounds without giving the active process. Usually the specification supports how they have been prepared. Yeah, they the applicant or the agent for the applicant are very supportive in giving the data as to where the activity has been shown, and they usually file the applications with all the data which is available for the best performing of that particular compound. Sometimes it does not, but most of the times it is. So this is one of the Marcus claims. Then there are product by process claims. Now the product by process claims are actually a claim to a product obtained or produced by a process is anticipated by any prior disclosure of that particular product per se. See, it's a very technical line which is written. Simply, it means as this, that if the product is obtained or produced by a process, which process is already known in the prior art, then by any prior disclosure, then that it is anticipated. That product is also not considered novel, and regardless of its method of production. Then suppose in India, there are two theories for it. It's a very technical part. There is a product identification theory and there is a process limitation theory. India usually follows the product identification theory, that if the process is different, suppose if there is a C compound which is prepared by a method and C compound prepared by a B method. So usually in some countries, the product is already known. The product will not be granted anyhow, but the process, they will not even consider the process also. the second process, that is the B process. But in India, if it is prepared by a different process, then that process is considered. Recently, there was a case in High Court where some FMC corporation was there along with versus some insecticide company, wherein the FMC company had actually made a product with a process. Now, the Indian company had prepared the similar compound with a different process, and they wanted to sell that product. They were waiting for their patent to expire, of course, but still they wanted to. Something was going. So I don't know, but some case went to the court, and the court decided that because the compound which this insecticidal company was preparing was through a very different process, that process they can use that process. Of course, they will not be using the process which has been claimed by the FMC corporation. They cannot use that process, but by any other process, if they are preparing the similar compound, they can use it. And the product was not, they cannot market the product, but process they can do. They can produce that, they use that process. Process claims are there. Sometimes if the product has to qualify the novelty and inventive step also, here it means this only, actually, that the product should qualify the process, even if it is novel. The product also has to be novel. If the product is not produced as the similar product which is already in the market with the less purity or with the similar purity, then it cannot be considered for grant. So this is an example of product by process claim, wherein the method of preparing ceramic nanoparticles loaded with one or more photosensitive drugs, comprising the steps of wherein preparing myceles, adding alkoxy organosilane, subjecting the complexes of silica, isolating the precipitated nanoparticles by dialysis. This is the structure of the claim from 1 to 7. This was the method claims. Okay, these are the product by process claims I am telling you. Now, the claim 8 to 13 in this same application were a composition claim, defining again the same features. Only the preamble, which I told you, the initial part, that the preamble of the claim was now from process to a composition, comprising ceramic nanoparticles, again the same steps. So what do you think in this application would have been granted? After telling you that product has to qualify the novelty and inventive step also, and secondly, the process should be of course new, and the process steps cannot define the composition. Here the composition itself is not defined. You see, there is no composition part in this claim. Composition is defined in the way by the way of process only. This cannot be considered a composition. A composition has to have certain components which are better than the whatever component or nanoparticles they have achieved earlier. So the prior art D1 is directed to a photoluminescent. Just a minute. This is a different art. So in this particular case, I would tell that the composition claims were not considered for grant in this case. Reason being, the prior art D1, which was directed to nanoparticles of it's a very technical part in here, that the solution suggested in D1 was the use of the light emitting nanoparticles to be administered in addition to PDT in order to activate the drug. It was already taught in D1, and they had not made any improvement in there. So the controller refused the application on the ground of lack of novelty. The composition and the process also. But later on, the process was granted and the composition was not granted. Then this is the case study 4, wherein the working example of the invention as given in the disclosure, the active ingredient powder is taken 80 to 90%. This is the working example which was given in the disclosure. I'm not giving the complete specification to you here. I'm just telling in the case study, after the description, there is a working example. Working example was defining that the active ingredient powder is taking 80% to 90% by weight of the total formulation, while the other constituents are 10 to 20% by weight of the total formulation. More preferably, he's defining the active ingredients, the antioxidant, the stabilizer. The stabilizer is 1 to 3%. I am mentioning this stabilizer 1 to 3% because I'll be discussing this point later on. And then flavors and fragrances 2 to 5% and taste enhancer. Now the active ingredient powder, they did not, of course there was a composition claim. So here the first claim was a composition claim, wherein they had claimed for whatever composition I described. Now in the process claim, they defined the process claim. I'll be reading it. A process for preparing plant-based Ayurvedic formulation for the treatment of Parkinson's disease. As claimed in Claim 1, comprises of seed powder and antioxidant and stabilizer. Now, antioxidants, they are described as vitamin C and vitamin E, for which there was no support in the specification, as far as my knowledge goes. So that was one question mark. Then in the process, first of all, the process part was not, there was no working example of the process. The process here is explained with the, on the basis of the composition itself, and the stabilizer was mentioned as 5%, whereas in the composition earlier they had mentioned that the stabilizer will be 1 to 3%. That was an inconsistency. But the problem was, if you see the how nicely they claim the process for preparing plant-based Ayurvedic formulation, the functionality comes here for the treatment of Parkinson's disease. They are claiming for a process, but they are also mentioning the functionality of that formulation. What they are saying is for the treatment of the Parkinson's disease. This application was a little critical here for three reasons, for two reasons mainly, basically. That first of all, it was a traditional knowledge case, wherein some plants were used. Maybe in that time there was no Parkinson's disease earlier, but some seed powder, what they were mentioning of certain plant, was used for certain medicinal purpose. Firstly, so traditional knowledge was there. 3P was coming. Secondly, the process claims were not defined as such. There was no process. Had it been that the seed powder was dissolved in alcohol or methanol or some process was there, the process would have been granted. The composition itself could not be considered because of the traditional knowledge, because seed powder, preferably claims they would have mentioned what plant it was there. It is not covered here. These were the critical things which were required. First of all, if it's a traditional knowledge case, then if some other improvement has been done, that has to be disclosed in the specification. Only by taking seed powder, or I suppose if you're taking juice of certain plants like amala, that amla, that imblica indica, and as a director, you're taking neem, neem ka sat, what you say it, and you are mixing it and saying it has certain insecticidal property, or it is helping in treatment of the hairs, some kind of a hair infection. That use may not be present in the Ayurvedic citations which we have, but traditionally it is a known thing. Amla has been traditionally used by our country for all these. So first of all, you require an MBA requirement here. Then of course you have to come out of the traditional knowledge thing that has to overcome. Usually it is overcome because highly mechanized techniques have worked out, and how they have worked out that process is very different from what it was known in the prior arts. So if they are coming to a very active molecule, it can be considered for grant with the different stabilizers and all. of course, that can be overcome, but there is no case study for that much. So still it is in a very initial stage of jurisprudence, I would say. So still India is, our office is also dealing with certain cases at a very initial level now. Then the case study comes for the composition containing neem seed extracts and saccharides. Now, neem seed extract, you all know, is as adiricta. This was the abstract. The solid pesticide composition, preferably storage, and has high pesticidal activity and can be easily dissolved or dispersed in a liquid, such as water-based medium. This was the first claim, wherein the solid pesticide, and the neem extract. Just a minute. Okay, then wherein the set composition is the free-flowing powder, and wherein the set saccharide and the neem extract are not chemically bonded. Sorry. So he is mentioning here that it is a composition wherein the saccharide and the neem extract are not chemically bonded. Is a property which he is explaining in the claim 1. So, and another property, but these are all property claims. The composition is a storage stable. Then, of course, he's mentioning the preferred embodiments. And the requirement here was NBA, of course, because as adiricta, neem plant was being used. NBA permission was required. And all the formal and technical objections were met, but only still the case is awaited for NBA approval. NBA approval has still not come in this case. Then I think I have just 5 minutes, so I will quickly go through one of more of my case studies. That is this one, a process for extracting neem oil from the neem seed, comprising treating the crushed neem seeds in the oxalate solvent extraction at a temperature 40 to 60 degree. Now these are the one which was filed with the Indian patent application, and the prior published document, that is the cited art which you call it, which the office raises, it had mentioned the extraction of the kernels with 70% of the alcohol to remove bitter and odoriferous compounds, followed by hexane extraction to recover good quality of oil. So extraction of kernels was mentioned there also with the 70% alcohol. Similar was mentioned here, and followed by hexane extraction, which was mentioned here also. Only difference was the argument of the applicant was here that the disclosure in the prior art does not make for the temperature 40 to 60 degree. That was not mentioned in any of the prior art. And because it was not mentioned in the prior art, you cannot consider it as a disclosure. Only question arises here, was the skilled person knowing that this 40 to 60 degree is valid temperature, because the person who's working in that field usually knows that it will give the extraction. Once you start heating the oxalate apparatus, you know it will reach a 40 degree temperature. It's a common general knowledge. So certain things you have to access, they may not be cited anywhere. It's just common general knowledge that it is known in the public, whose person is skilled, for the person skilled in the art. So these were certain things which were worked upon, and the 40 to 60 degree temperature, that it was not any other temperature, it was a very specific range, but it was not showing any further improvement in whatever neem cake he was getting or obtaining. The odoriferous substances were not reduced or something. It was similar to that of the prior art. So if had he been able to show some improvement in that, it would have process for grant. But depending on what the applicant has given in the submission after whatever hearing or discussion with the authority has taken. And I would like to just show that this was one of the examples wherein this composition was filed as a xanthine dye, organic dye, a fumarate, an antimicrobial composition having these many components. But it was granted in this way. The range has to be mentioned in the compositions, And of course, the synergy of those compounds was mentioned, the ratio finally which was there. So I wanted to cover a little bit of infringement as to how, but I think I don't have much time. These are the simple patent jargons which is used in electronics. I just wanted to touch a little electronics because I have no example of electronics. That for light emitting devices, they don't use light emitting device. LED, they don't claim LED. They write photo transmitting device. For current collector, they write arrangement of tapping for tapping power from the electrical cable. Means for a person who's skilled, like a simple skilled person who knows electricity, will usually have in mind current collector. It will not come to his mind an arrangement for tapping power from an electrical cable. Then so you have to really go through the claims as to what actually they are claiming. Sometimes when the claims are drafted, they are drafted in a very different manner. For like for pipe and for riser, for cable or an optical fiber elongate member. For a door or window, they will use the word wings. Then for a spring, they will use energy storing means. For nail and screw rivet, they will use fastening means. The preamble will read as fastening means. You only if you understand, if you go through the drawings, you will understand actually it's a screw or a nail. So these are some of the things which I wanted to discuss. I know it was a very short time, otherwise I would have discussed most of my examples there. There were more examples. And this is our website. Please do visit our website. There are many examples written here in the guidelines also. You can go through them. And there are controllers' decisions also. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present before you this presentation. Thank you, Dr. Pavan Kumar.
Thank you, Dr. Sweta. It was really a very wonderful session. You have covered almost all aspects of patent, disclosure, and claims, attesting to the title, disclosure versus claims, by taking up very simple examples so that participants from different subject domains could easily understand. I could see a lot of appreciation for you in the chat box. And at the same time, there are some queries, but most of them are related to the patent filing, signatures, forms, those things.
And that I think Dr. Lipika will be covering.
Yes, because we have scheduled patent filing aspects on day 5. So maybe I will take those queries during day 5. And participants, if you have any further queries related to the patent disclosure, claim, structuring, you may please directly write to Sweta, or you can also write to us while we provide a query form. Sweta, what we are doing is we are sharing a query form with all the participants. So there they can put up those queries, and we'll take out the queries and speakers to kindly answer them at their convenience, so that within some time we will share this with all the participants.
Okay.
So because there would be repeated queries, there would be similar queries, overlapping queries. So just to make it more uniform, we thought of doing this practice. And since we have another speaker waiting in the line, so therefore, if there is any query, quickly I will take it up. After patent application, can I publish the material in a journal before the patent gets granted? I think again it is relevant to patent filing, these aspects.
But this is true. He can file a patent and publish it later.
Yes.
Because it will be at a later publishing date. No issue.
True. So I think, Sweta, what we can do is sometime again, we'll invite you to conduct an exhaustive session on drafting aspects. We are also planning to conduct an offline session, because drafting is such a thing. Whenever we listen, it appears to be understood. But when we start doing, again, people will face many difficulties.
See, there are two aspects to it also. The person who drafts is very skillfully they are drafting. If you go through the terms I am mentioning here, they very skillfully drafted things. And we as the examining authority has a very different angle to it. We can suggest improvements into it to our convenience as to our act. Understand, but we are not into drafting much. But this is some aspect which I can cover from our patent office point of view.
I understand. So thank you very much, Dr. Sweta. Thank you, and we look forward for our continued association. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So dear participants, I hope you have enjoyed the session on the patent drafting, covering aspects of disclosure versus claims. Now, in continuation to our lecture number 2, Mr. Koleshwar has joined back. He was having some technical issues, so he could not do at that time. Mr. Koleshwar, I think you are here in the meeting. Koleshwar?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. So
Am I
please,
audible?
yes, yes, you are audible. I think Sweta, acha, now you have come. Yes, you are audible.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Can I start?
Yes, yes, you can. Sweta, I think you have to unshare this one. Yes. Yes, Koleshwar, please. I think we got disconnected while you were describing the structure of claim, preamble, transition, and the other part. So you can please continue from there itself.
Yeah, sure.
Because after your session, we have another lecture at 3:30. Of course, we can little postpone it to 3:45. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just share my screen first.
Yes, yes, please. Yes, screen is shared. You can make it in slide mode. Yes. And you can just take out that you can click on the hide button so that that will go.
Okay. I'll just keep asking in between. If anyone is having any kind of doubt, just you can inform me. I guess we can start from this slide.
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah. So I'll just give a quick brief about the previous slide, what we covered. Basically, we covered the claim, the importance of the claim, the structuring of the claim, and the 3 basic components of the claim. The first one is preamble, second one is transitional phase, and third one is the body. So we discuss in detail the importance of the preamble, why we write preamble, and what are the content of the preamble. After that, we discuss the transitional phase. Basically, it has 2 types of phase. The transitional phase, one is closed end, second is one is open-ended, and second is closed end. So the comprising refers to open-ended, and the consisting of refers to closed end. After that, we discuss in detail about the body of the patent, why the body is very important for drafting the claims, and the language of the body. So, and this is the one example which we can say that we can describe the preamble, transition phase, and the body. So I guess everyone is clear about the structure of the claim. So we can move to next slide. So
yes, Koleshwar, yes, yes, you can go ahead, because
okay,
people participants are in YouTube live streaming. They may not talk to you directly. So
okay, fine. Yeah. So the next we'll look into the types of claim. Basically, what are the style of drafting the claims. So first one is the two part claim. Now here the 2-part form claim is the claim is the body is divided basically into 2 parts. Now the first part is the body. First part comprises the existing knowledge in the prior art. But why we write those in the body? Just because that is essential to connect with the technical feature of your invention. Now I'll give an example after this slide. And the whatever the technical feature or the novel part or novel aspect of your invention is there, it should be always preceded by the expression characterized in that, or the characterized by. So by stating this, you can take the technical feature which you have invented is worked in combination with the feature stated in the first subparagraph. So I'll just describe this or explain this. Now this is the claim. Now here you can see that this patent is claiming electrode material. Now the transition phase is comprising. Now the body comprises two parts. The one part is the one which is already known in the prior art. So the subject matter from at least to electrolysis bath is already known in the prior art. Okay. Now after that, the applicant has added the characterized in that. So the whatever the subject matter written after that, like said metal till 0.85, this is the invention or the inventive concept which is obtained or which is invented by the inventors. So now one question might arise, why we are writing this if we are not this belongs to prior art or it is already in the public domain. So generally two-part form claims are written just two, because these are interconnected. You cannot describe this without this. So for this you need to compulsory write whatever is there in the prior art, and post that you can write your inventive concept after this. So this is the one of the part of the claim, and this come handy when examiner is examining your claim. He might see you have written characterized in that, it means your invention lies in this. So if examiner will pinpointly search for the prior art which is related to this subject matter which is written after characterized in that. Okay, so this is the first. Now second is Marcus type claim. Now Marcus structure is representation of chemical structure used to indicate a group of related chemical compound. Now suppose if you might be well aware of the chemical compound or pharmaceutical structures or drug structure where there are different derivatives or substituents. So here in this case, if I say R2 is a compound where R1 is a compound which can be selected from the group consisting of lithium, sodium, potassium. Now there are three possibilities. Basically this is called derivative. So there are three possibilities. Instead of claiming three independent claim, what I'll write a single, I denote it by a single letter R2 or R1, and I'll say that it can be any of these three. Now the main concept is you have to compulsory write this element selected from group consisting of. Now you might see the consisting of term is there. So this is the closed end term. Basically your substituents might contain only these three, not fourth one, not fifth one. Then suppose if I'm not writing consisting of and if I'm writing here comprising, it means it is open-ended and the scope is not defined. So again you might get objection from the examiner to limit your scope. So for that reason, whenever there is a Marcus structure, whenever you are defining the substituents like R1, R2, R3, or you need to define in this way a group consisting of. Okay. Now basically this due to this types of claim, we need the need for multiple independent claim is avoided, because I am representing multiple atoms with single letter, and this is mostly related into biotech or chemical invention, pharmaceutical inventions. Now we'll come to this is one of the example which I was talking about. Now this is the structure which this patent is claimed and it has been granted. So now you can see there are n number of 1 to almost 5, 6 substituents group R, and where in the subsequent claim only they have defined what is Y1, what is RA1, what is R2, what is R3, and what is R4. Now you can see that they have not written anywhere comprising here. When they are defining the substituents, then they're not writing comprising. They might will take example of R3 where they have defined R3 is H or C1 to 128 alkyl or C328 cycloalkyl. So this is a very specific limitation which they are claiming. So this is the one type of claim in chemistry. I will move to next, which is improvement claim or Jepson type claim. Now, in short, I'll say that in this type of claim, preamble contains the statement of the most relevant prior art. Basically, if you are wanted to prove that what is your improvement to your existing technology, you have in transition phase, you can write characterize in that, or where the improvement comprises. So this gives examiner a clear idea where your invention lies, or what is your inventive concept. So and the novel and inventive feature are always there in the body. So now this is the example: an electrochemical device having an electrode, wherein the improvement comprises a solid electrolyte layer provided between the pair of electrodes. So basically, I am clearly stating this is my inventive concept and novel concept. However, there is a chance of getting into trouble if you write this kind of claim, because if there are n number of components, we should not stick to a particular statement that this is my improvement, because examiner may find the relevant prior art, and then in that case you can change your stance. Okay, my improvement was in solid electrolyte layer between the pair of electrode. Now my improvement is some different features. So this is little bit tricky. So generally we avoid writing this Jepson type of claim. You can write in this manner again, where we can say that this is the example of the granted patent where they have written characterize in that. Now this said layer of cladding, you can see said layer of cladding consists of aluminum alloy or of chemical composition. Now this is his improvement. This is the improvement type of claim. Okay, we'll move to next. Now means plus function claim. Now this is also very important. Now in this type of claim recite the function of a structure instead of defining the specific definition of the structure. Now in simple terms, if I want to claim a chair, okay, now what I'll write a means for sitting, like this. I'll not define a seat. Hello?
Yeah, Koleshwar. Yeah, you can continue. It is good.
Okay. I thought I just got disconnected.
No.
Sorry for the inconvenience, because
maybe you are joining MS Teams for the first time or what?
No, I don't know what's the issue. It is getting disconnected with today.
No. Now it is fine. You can please go ahead. Okay.
So this means types of claim is basically you want to define a particular component by its function, not by exact the structure. Now, so if now we'll take one particular example: an apparatus for lyophilization of a compound, bioactive compound, comprising a means for holding a bioactive compound. Now there is a lyophilization apparatus. Now I want to actually I'm using a vessel where I am holding bioactive compound, but I don't want to write vessel or chamber. Instead I am writing means anything which is holding bioactive compound is my structure. So this is very broad term, and I am claiming the holding means actually the vessel. So this gives a very broad scope, but still it is quite difficult to get such kind of claims where you don't have n number of examples. Suppose I have an example for chamber, if I have example of reactor or vessel or any different things, then only examiner will allow this such kind of functional claims where you can exactly write means for holding. Otherwise he will say okay, restrict it to your vessel only. If you are using vessel, restrict it to vessel. Okay, so this is a functional or means type plus function claims. Now this is omnibus claim. Again, this is very vague or not accepted in every most of the patent office. Omnibus refers to a description of the drawing without providing specific limitation. Now, actually, this type of claim is used in design patent. Basically, if I'm claiming any juice machine as shown in figure 4, so basically I'm claiming that figure 4 means whatever the structure drawn in figure 4, I'm claiming that. But in case of patent, actual patent, you cannot claim such type of claim, and most of the patent, not all patent office allow omnibus claim. So where the body refers to any part of a description, not the exact component of the description, but you are referring some para or some line or some figure in the description. So this type of claim is not allowed. Now I guess we have different styles of claim. Now we'll come to specific type of claim. What are the different specific claim? I guess we all know. We have already discussed in previous slide, so I'll just go in brief about apparatus claim. Device, okay, and in preamble, basically starting line, we recite what is the apparatus is or what it does, and in body we recite essential inventive element. Now what does essential inventive element means? Essential means, suppose if you are claiming certain fermenter, okay, now fermenter might have 15 components. So you won't be claiming 15 components because all are not essential. So suppose if you are claiming fermenter and your invention lies in the design of a baffle, okay, now your invention lies in the design of a baffle, so you won't be claiming that fermenter has a covering, it has a vessel, it has temperature sensor, it has a stirrer, or it has pressure monitoring system, because everything is not essential for functioning of baffle. Okay, you're designing or the inventive concept of design of a baffle. So what other essential components are connected to baffle, you can claim that, but there is no point in claiming all 15 elements if you're claiming a fermenter. So we'll take one example here. Now here apparatus claim, here you have written a reduction processing apparatus. Now for steel making slag that continuously performs reduction processing to hot steel making slag by using electric furnace. Now the apparatus comprises. Now here the apparatus, they have mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4 different components or elements. Now just simply mentioning a slag supplying container, electrode, and auxiliary raw material supplying unit or tilting unit, it doesn't make this whole claim enough. So you need to define the function of each element, define function or the purpose or the position or location. At least you define in that. See, if I'm claiming in the body a slag supplying container, so here I'm saying that what it does. So an electrode that is provided at the electrode. So now I'm saying that electrode is provided at the electric furnace. So I'm disclosing the location of the electrode and its function. Electrode heats the molten slag layer. How it does? By reducing the hot steel making slag together with the molten iron. So whenever you are writing apparatus claim and you are enlisting the components, you need to compulsory add its function, that element function, or its relation with other element, or its position, location, how this location, the position is important for this invention. So in this way, and further, wherever you are writing wherein, it means your this feature is not found in prior art. So it might be after prosecution that inventor has added this in the independent claim to make it patentable, inventive, and novel. So the electric furnace is closed type electric furnace which is fixed type. So again, this feature might not have found by the examiner. That's why it's there. Okay. So this is the apparatus claim. Now second, we see the method claim. Now method claim is quite obvious in your industry or your research area, I guess in material technology or metallurgy. So everything is on process only method. So in method claim, in the body we recite a sequence step that complete a task or accomplish a result. So if I am doing n number of action and I am getting product starting from product A and I'm getting product D, so it means I'm performing some task in a particular sequence, so that each step you can claim in the method claim, provided all steps are necessary, essential, so that your whole invention gets covered in the step. Now if I take an example of metallurgy, if you are saying the process for reducing the carbon residue in powder metal, so in that case you are accomplishing the task by different using different process. So in that case you need to enlist claim the different important steps in the claim one, and the subsequent sub feature which are not essential you can claim it on dependent claim. So active step might be recited in the order. Now, if you feel that it can be done in any order, means any step can precede the previous one, or it can be done after one. In that case, you don't write the order of the claims, like you don't write numbering. But if there is, but that the process has to be carried in particular sequence, in that case, you need to write here numbering. So if I take this example of method claim. Again, this is the method of reduction of processed steel making slide. Now, if this has to be carried on this particular sequence, I'll write A, B, C, D, like step A, step B, step C, step D. Okay. So again, this and in each step, you need to start from a product, a particular compound A, and after processing through step A, you are getting step B. Now, for step B, you are starting from step B and reaching to C. Now, in step C, you take C and do some process, and you are reaching to D, like this. So you need to write in such a way that after one step, what I am getting. I started from A and I got B. In step B, I started from B, I got C. So you just have to write in such a way so that it is complete. So now use claim, again it is a specific type of claim where we claim the use of a particular known substance, known product. Suppose if I am using this is a very known example where aspirin has been used for as a painkiller in between earlier. Now afterwards, doctors found or researchers found that it can be used for heart patient also, treating heart disease. So they found another use of the same substance. So in that case, they are using, they will be claiming use of aspirin for treating heart disease. But still, these type of claims are not allowed in India. So, but if you are filing for US or a few more jurisdiction, you can draft claim in such manner. So this is medical use that it again, which I have already explained. This type of claim are called switch type claim, where substance is already known, but you are claiming different use. Okay. Now composition claim, this is very important. It is used where claim invention pertains to chemical nature of the material or the component used. And now what does it mean that if there is a composition, there are component A, B, C, D. So whenever a composition is prepared, you can say that each different role and importance of each element. So in this type of claim, you don't have to show the different relation between each other. That is done in mixture type of claim. That in earlier presentation we heard that if there is a Ayurvedic mixture or any kind of mixture where we are taking 4 components and mixing it and using it, so that in that case you need to show synergism. But when you are using composition and you are preparing a proper composition, then that just enlisting the component is enough, and the percentages if required. You don't need to write the advantage of that particular element. For example, let's take example, we need to solution for copper electroplating. Now I am first is an alkaline solution of copper sulfate. Now the composition solution comprise alkaline solution of copper sulfate 30 to 50 gram. Now second is sulfuric acid, which is 2 to 4 times of copper acetate solution, and aqueous solution of pH modifying substrate in an amount sufficient to adjust the pH value this. So these are the 4, and what is important here is you don't need to describe the advantage in the claim or the sulfuric acid. So we'll take example like sulfuric acid. I won't claim here that sulfuric acid we used to reduce the pH of this particular solution, or is to balance the pH of the particular solution. I won't claim this because we cannot claim property and the use of particular element. So avoid writing in composition claim the function this advantage patent office. So what is more patentable, the exact terminology is that how you are achieving this result. If you are saying that you have alkaline solution, sulfuric acid, and pH modifying substrate, so you need to show that each element, what is the role, how they are important in this composition. So you can explain the chemistry behind it for using sulfuric during prosecution, why I took sulfuric acid, why I took this, what is the role. So but you cannot claim in the claims. Now method of treatment, again this is very similar to use claim. So this is not allowed in all jurisdictions. In India it is strictly not allowed, but again if you are going for US patent filing, you can draft in such a manner where you can see, you can treat any medical condition basically. A method of treating neurological condition where administrating a subject in need of therapeutically effective dose of particular compound. So this claim is very restricted to US as per my knowledge, but in India we won't draft such claims. Now product by process. Now this is again one type of claim where a claim of a product defined in terms of process for manufacture. So in this claim, what we claim is that suppose if you are using a process and you are isolating some molecule or some compound by using a process, so you cannot claim that compound that I got this compound using this process. So this kind of claim won't be allowed. You have to strictly restrict it to that you have to write that this product has been obtained by using the above process. Without mentioning the reference of above process, you won't get the claim. I'll just give you an example. Now this is one granted patent. Now here the buffalo milk protein concentrate was claimed. Now you can see this is the amendment in the purple color. Now this applicant has directly written they were claiming concentrate, but they have achieved this buffalo milk concentrate by using a process. So examiner said that you need to mention the reference that this product is obtained by the method as claimed in claim 1. So for this reason, this type of claim is called product by process. So you don't have monopoly on a particular product which is already there. Now, biotechnology claim, again, this is related to very specific to genetic modification or living organisms or therapeutic use or anything related to DNA, where there is a biological material involved. Just one thing, I guess you might have already know that whenever you are working with any biological material, you need to deposit this. If the microorganism is new, you need to deposit into international depository of my organism. It has been established in each country, and you need to take NDA permission for that. Here, this is the one example for DNA biotechnology claims where they are claiming a particular gene, and generally it is written in the form of sequence ID if the gene is new. Other types of claim are software claims and design claim. I guess we don't go into that because this is out of our domain, but still software claims generally relate to patent claims related to IT, internet information technologies, computer science, uh, and design claim are related to automobile where you are claiming a particular appearance of any particular component of a vehicle or anything. So these are the part of the specific type of claim. Now these two basic claim, again in claim there are two different types of claim. One is independent claim and second is dependent claim. You people might be knowing the claim one. Generally, it is an independent claim and it refers to a standalone claim that contain all limitation necessary to define the invention. So now why this is important independent claim, again I have already explained that if you have 15 components or 15 process in your apparatus, you won't claim all 15 things, just need to claim your inventive concept. So but it should be in broader way, and dependent claim refers to a previous claim and must add further limitation to the previous claim. Again, I will take the example of apparatus. If I'm claiming fermenter, I'll write a reaction vessel instead of fermenter, and in subsequent claim 2 I'll write wherein the reaction vessel is fermenter. So what I'm doing, I'm adding a limitation to my previous claim, and independent claim should always contain your enabled embodiment or enabled claim. Suppose if you can say that if you have using fermenter and you can say to a drafter that I can every kind of reactor can be used. So for the sake of your convenience, he would be writing reaction vessel. But you know that if you are using only fermenter, that will be questioned at later stages. So for that you need to add different examples in description. And a claim in dependent form incorporate by reference all the limitation of the claim to which it refers. Now what does it mean? That whatever you are writing in claim, dependent claim, you need to take reference from claim 1. Means I'll take example of this. Now this is the granted patent or US patent. Now see, this is a method of making ball. Okay, now they are claiming in body how they are preparing a ball. Now first step is this, second step is first step is forming an inner sphere, second step is forming a plurality of core part, third step is arranging and joining the core part, and fourth is molding. So these were the essential steps for preparing ball. Now
Koleshwar, another 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah, just last 2 slides.
Fine.
Okay. Yeah. So this now whenever we are writing a dependent claim, we need to have reference of this. Now while I'm writing this core part, defining the further core part, I can say that core part was discussed in claim 1. If I'm writing anything about inner sphere, so I will say that it was disclosed in claim 1. You cannot write new thing here without describing in claim 1. If you are writing any new thing, you need to write in such a way that if you have to keep it open-ended, comprising, and then you can write new thing. And so post that, I can say that you need to have a proper antecedent basis. What does that mean? That any indefinite article use of indefinite article like a and n when introducing the element for the first time, and definite article the and said while referring back to the introduced element. I'll just give this quick example. If I'm introducing any first thing like an inner sphere, a plurality of core part. Now once I have defined this, in whenever I am writing again anything about inner sphere, I'll refer it to by the. See, wherever there is a core part, there is the. Wherever there is inner sphere, there is the. So this thing you have to take care of. Make sure you don't write a again once you have defined this. And again, reference numeral nowadays, Indian Patent Office strictly say that if you are claiming apparatus or process, you need to give a reference numeral of your figure. So again, this can be done. This is general practice nowadays. Now the last slide. The last slide is that importance of claim drafting. So, most of you are research people who are doing R&D on daily basis. So and as per my conversation with inventors while drafting, most of them are interested in getting grant of a patent rather than the quality of the patent. They are interested in getting grant. Somehow we can we want grant. So what I want to tell that if you have an invention and if you get a grant of this smaller inner circle, the claim, and you are not getting grant of big circle, so there is a very difference, because your competitor might just do a little tweaking of your granted patent and he will use this the little bit middle circle and bypass your patent. So in this case, if you are getting grant on very narrow scope, there is no point in getting the patent granted. Means if I talk in terms of money wise, the investment which you are doing, your time and everything, if you're not earning money from your patent, then again it will be of literally no use. So whatever your time, money, everything is invested, just you need to get a broader scope so that you can get patent on the bigger circle, and you can get the broader scope, and most of the your competitors or your customers should come to you for getting the license. If you have the patent granted on the bigger circle, any bigger, and once you have a good grant patent, surely you can your institute or your industry can earn lot from your patent. So ultimately you have to decide. Just for my personal advice, I can say that just don't go for patent drafting, the claim drafting in such a manner that anyhow I want grant. Just go for anything which we are getting grant on the broadest scope. Okay. I guess I'm done. So any questions from audience?
Thank you, Koleshwar. I think there is a decent appreciation going on in the chat box for you. And to my knowledge, you have made it so simple that people could easily understand. So the language and the kind of examples that you used are very, very simple and easily understandable from each of the participants, I find. And maybe what we are doing is we'll be collecting the queries and sending to the relevant speakers, because due to the paucity of time, if we take up the Q&A session, it may be difficult to manage the entire program. So therefore, as of now, we may not be taking queries at present, but participants, please post your queries in the chat box and we will pass it on to the speakers, and then after getting the responses from them, we'll again circulate among you all.
Yeah, you can reach us out to any time. We'll just solve your respond to your query.
Yes, you can also directly write to them. So thank you, Mr. Koleshwar, for conducting. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
And dear participants, now we have another speaker, my good friend, Mr. Amit Patel, who is the founder of IP firm PATectual IP Services from Ahmedabad. Of course, good morning. I'm good. Sorry for asking you to wait for 15-20 minutes because we were running short of the time.
As well to listen other speakers, their insights about the things. I also learned from them.
Right. So before I hand over the session to you, I'll give a quick introduction to the participants because we received about 1,500 participations, and participants are joining through YouTube live streaming. In MS Teams link, hardly you find very few people from the organizing team. Okay. So dear participants, as I mentioned, Amit is the founder of PATectual IP Services. Basically, he's from a pharmacy background. He did M-Pharmacy, then he also holds LLB, and he did PG diploma in IPR. And earlier he used to work with Gujarat Technological University, where he has conducted several activities. He is one of the popular IP personnel in Gujarat and nearby areas. And now his popularity is increasing because he is catering services to many organizations, starting from the individual startups to other academic and research agencies. He has published about 10 books and submitted several research papers in the domain of IPR. And he is the recipient of SSIP Prashasana Award in 2019 by Education Department, Government of Gujarat. He is also the recipient of Outstanding Contribution towards IP Awareness and Protection, and the recipient of Diamond Category Award under 150 IP Programs in a Year initiative by Gujarat Technological University. With this brief introduction, Amitji, we welcome you to this program. Now the session is yours. Amitji, you have to unmute.
Yes, first of all, namaskar to one and all. Thank you very much, Pawanji, for a kind invitation and giving this beautiful opportunity to interact with all the participants from across the India, and this is really appreciable. On such a large scale, you are conducting these activities. We are associated since the start of these new IPR initiatives, I think since about last 3 years. And see that you are so passionate about this aspect, IP as a awareness, apart from your normal job role with the IIMT, right? You invite best of the industry experts and spread the IP awareness to the.
Thank you very much.
So yes, friends. Sir, okay, screen. And I had saved my screen.
Yes, perfect. It is perfect.
Okay. So yes, friends. And covering a large aspect of the topics related to IP practice, IP implementation, government policies, and all those aspects. I'm going to, for next 1 hour, I'm going to discuss about the patent claims, right? How to exercise the criteria and the coverage and the construction aspects. And each IP has a defined purpose. What protects trademark is not protectable by the patent. Patent protects different type of creations, like the designs is protecting the outlooks of the products. So first we need to understand fundamental, what kind of creations are fundamentally protected by the patent. So in a simplest manner, in a very simplest manner, we can say that patent protects fundamentally product itself. Second is the process. And if you observe anything around yourself in entire world, everything can be categorized only under these two aspects. There is no other thing these two aspects can be possible, product and process. Okay, so if with your intellect, if you develop a product or process, it can be patented, or a product by process jointly, new product development with a novel process. Now, what you can protect, another important catch over here is fundamentally there is a, because of lack of IP awareness, people think like that a patent, who can patent something, who has developed entirely new product can only be patented. This is a misconception, but we need to understand that entirely new is also patentable, and at the same time just a very small modification into existing product or process. Say for example, there is a chair available, there is a bulb available, there is a shoes available, there is a spec available, and if you make just one feature improvement into that existing product and process, those small changes are also eligible to get patented. Now with this a brief fundamental, like what can be patented. So product and processes, these two are important aspect, and product are by process, entirely new and small modification. This is fundamental. Now to get patented, you already know that anything to get patented needs to satisfy or fulfill these three criterias: novelty, non-obvious, and usefulness aspect. So as look, I am going to discuss about the claim itself, right? And to certain aspect, you all know that claim is regarded as the fundamental and most important aspect of the patent document is the claim. Okay, so the claim is regarded as the heart of patent document, and actually the claim gives you the ownership right. All other aspect of patent document is the informative and the supporting aspect. So to get your patent granted, it means that you have to clear your claims with respect to these three requirements. Each claim is judged on these aspects: novelty, non-obviousness, and useful. So if your claim overcomes and passes these three criteria, ultimately your possibilities to get your patent granted is much higher. Okay, so now with this, look, we usually discuss and say like that patentability aspect. What are the patentability criteria? Like these three. But even if you go and see the micro version of this criteria and this fundamental, it says like that these fundamentals or criteria to be passed for each of the mentioned claim, not for the entire patent document itself. Okay, so if you understand this and if you apply this principle with respect to drafting and analyze of each claim, whether my claim one is novel or not, non-obvious or not, useful or not, if it is not, with respect to your development, amend it, and even though it is not possible, then that aspect of document or invention is not patentable. So with respect to look via consideration of under the Patent Act itself, right? Some other expert has already discussed about the aspect what are not patentable in India, like method of treatment, new use, computer program, business method, or like this. These are the standard process or a product by process, entirely new or a small modification of existing of them. And if your claim is not falling under any of them and fulfilling those criteria, then your success rate for the claim aspect itself. I had also covered some aspect on the types of claim which already my earlier speaker has covered. So I will quickly go through on those aspects and more focus towards the claim construction. Okay, and how to read, how to interpret, what are the requirement and what mistakes not to be taken took place. Okay, so look, as a patent document itself has multiple parts like a title, preamble, technical field, background, objective statement, drawings, components, description of drawing, detailed description of inventions and examples, claims, abstract, and the drawings. So these are different heading, right? And each has a defined purpose. What to be mentioned as a title, technical field, background is defined. So if on a part basis, if you work on each part like a objective, what are objective of my invention? Mention over there, right? List of drawings. So I am going to incorporate 10 drawings. I give the 10 drawings. List of components. For each drawing, what are the components based on which you are going to make a detailing. So make that list. Then give a description of each drawing. Drawing 1, like this, these are components, how they are connected, what role it is making, and on what criteria or what range they perform. So similarly, if you work by each of them definedly and with a common sense, right? In a simplistic manner, if you refer 10-15 documents of your area, understand how people are mentioning details about them, and if you categorically day by day look, patent drafting is not an exercise which can be done in a one sit of 2, 3, 5 hours. It requires an investment of 5, 7, 15 days. So if you understand these parts and work on each of them, today you work, tomorrow get it reviewed and work on another part. Our day after tomorrow, review earlier too and rework on the new part. So like this, if you work on this aspect, these parts for a period of 15-20 days, your patent document would be in a good quality, it would get prepared, right? And as we discussed, claim, this is the part which actually gives you the ownership right. All other aspects except the claim is just a supportive document or a supportive detail to support your claims, right? As per a patent system, you cannot just file the claims and ask for the exclusive right. It is not possible. You have to support, you have to give her drawings, descriptions, their working range, examples, objectives, background. What is the problem? What are available solutions? What are their drawbacks? All these you have to make a foundation or accept claims, like all a foundation you have to prepare. And at the end, look, in each patent document, wherever a patent document you refer from any country, usually patent documents are at the end of patent document, right? So that which defines, like, yeah, an entire earlier part you are going to brief about problem, solution, and development, and then at the last the applicant says, now what is my invention, right? Which is novel, non-obvious, useful, and based on which I am going to have exclusive right for what features. Those are the claims. So look, drafting a patent is regarded as a scientific art. There is a science involved, true, as it is a technical aspect, technical improvements. But at the same time, drafting application is also regarded as an art, right? Artistic form. So the more you practice, the more you would be expert in your art, right? So, and that's why it has been said, like, if you, as I earlier said, if you refer as a beginner, if you refer 10, 15, 20 documents of your area, whatever is you are working upon as a R&D project, right? If you refer those documents, you will have a greater idea, like how people are writing, how people are representing, how to prepare the drawings, right? How to brief your invention, how to make the claims. And that's why this entire exercise, drafting a patent, is regarded as a scientific art, artistic work, right? If you are not expert in the art, right, making a drawing, and suppose someone is asking you make a drawing of the natural scene, today you would not do good. But if you practice making a natural scene every day, that would be possible that after a period of 1 month and you would be a really good artist. This is like the same scientific art. Okay, so look, For drafting a patent application, it requires you have to invest your energy majorly on two aspects, right? A description part and the claims. And description includes all the aspects like a technical field, background, objectives, preparing drawings, describing them, and all those aspects, description. And another, whatever the investment of time you are making to define all this, equivalent amount of time or even more you should invest for preparing your claim, right? So there are two major aspects, preparing and working for the description and the claim. So description actually discusses the invention, right, with the support of different drawings, different component, different relationship, right? You are going to discuss about how it is going to work in what range, right? All those aspects, the description. And the claim actually defines the boundary and your ownership rights, right? What would be your ownership right? Suppose there is a land plot, open land plot, or into the society. You know that in one society there are, say for example, 50 houses are there. So how you are going to define that? What is the ownership right of bungalow number 1? What is his land ownership? He defines like this is my land ownership, and he makes the boundary so as to define this is my area, right? So you are making a boundary to define and to inform others and to make yourself secure, like this is my property, within this boundary is mine. Okay, so similarly for the patent, in the patent, the claims gives you the boundary for your exclusive ownership for the technical improvement, whatever you build upon, whatever on which you made a research and develop the new solution. So the claim importantly gives two indications. One, it gives you the ownership right, and at the same time it defines the boundaries of your ownership. What is your ownership limit within which your invention is yours and what others cannot copy? That is the importance of claim. So look, as a patent claim, what we are going to discuss about the construction and all those aspects. So the claims. So claim with the heart of patent document. Like from a human body, if you remove the heart, the person is no longer can live. Similarly, if you cannot imagine a patent document without a claim. If the claim is absent, there is no meaning to have that patent. Okay, so the heart is, that's why the how strong are your claims, that will define how strong is your patent. So claim defines the boundary of monopoly and ownership, and usually the claim appears at the end of document. All earlier part is the supportive and descriptive part based on which your claims are founded, right? So look, so for the claim construction of a patent, it is to be understood and very important aspect. So fundamentally, each claim is of a single sentence, right? Each claim should have a single sentence. So if you prepare a one paragraph of a 5 sentence, so you cannot file that one paragraph as a one claim. First of all, you have to amend that paragraph with that claim drafting strategies so that entirely all those aspects can be formed and represented properly in a single sentence format. One sentence, one claim, right? So this is one fundamental aspect, single sentence. It should be concise, precise, and accurately expressed in the legal terms, defining the scope of invention. Concise and precise, right? You cannot, in the claims, the patent office demands the particularity, precision, right? The my temperature, right? Making for this formulation, the mixture of solution is to be heated in the range of is to be heated. You cannot like is to be heated, right? It is not precise. You have to mention like the solution mixture is to be heated in the range of 30° to 70°. So that is the precision. You cannot say like a thin layer of a material. How much thin? 1 centimeter, 5 millimeter, 1 micrometer, 1 nanometer, how much thin? So those are the words which cannot be give a precision or a specificity to your claim sentence are not allowed, right? So the claim should be concise, precise, and accurately expressed in legal terms, right? And that's how it defines the scope of an invention, right? What would be the component? What would be their process sequence? In how they are connected with each other? In what range they perform, right? And what would be the percentage yield or what proportion of the ingredients you are using? All those precisions you have to mention under the claims. And important, as I said earlier, each of aspects, what the concise, precision, and accurately for each claim, whatever you are writing, that to be checked on those three criteria: novelty, non-obvious, usefulness. So whatever you are writing under that, you have to say like whether it is novel, non-obvious, and like that. Okay, in a good drafting, it begins with a broad claim that is regarded as a independent claim. Independent, which itself is independent. It is not depending on any other broader claim. And after that independent broader claim, you are adding upon subsequent dependent claims, right? With respect to their arrangement, like this would have a length of this, this to this would heated into this to this. Those are the dependent claims. This would be made up of a material, this, and others, kind of those alternatives, right? Possible alternatives. So in a fundamentally in the independent claim, you are focusing towards the constructional aspect in the sequence of steps, how they are working. And the under the dependent claims, you are adding upon alternatives of them, right? Say for example, you are going to take either from a plastic, wood, steel, or any other material, right? You can heat in the range of 30 to 70° or higher, right? It is to be dried or it is to be kept overnight, or those things. Those are the dependent claims. It should frame to protect either a product or process, or apparatus or all. Apparatus itself is a product. So the claim should be focused. It is representing either a product, right? And if you refer the claim, you would understand what you are going to claim, whether this is a product claim or a process claim or a product by process claim, right? So it is representing what form of your invention is. The claims are usually start with preamble, right? I claim or we claim. If applicant is one person or a one company, the claim are started with I claim, right? For these, what is mentioned under this is an exclusive ownership of mine. If the applicants are more than one person, joint applicant, joint ownership, then they are writing like a we claim. It should start from a phrase page after the full description end, right? As per the government system and the act, the government gives you at the look in India, the application fee for filing a patent for natural person is a 1600, and if it is filed by the larger entity, the fee is 5 times higher, 8,000 rupees. And under the same amount, 1600 and 8,000, the government gives you the limit of 30-page entire document. The invention detailing 30-page document, including of maximum 10 claims. However, you are writing, right? 20 20-page description, 5-page drawing, 1-page abstract, and then rest 4 pages at the claims, or anyway how like the 29 pages of content and 1 page of claim. So 30 page, however you can fix it, but a 30 page and the 10 claim, that is what covered under the basic fee of 1600. But at the same time, if your invention is a larger, it has a many features, right? And if you need to add more claims beyond 10, then on each claim beyond 10, you require to pay additional fee of rupees 320 rupees if you are a natural person, startup, or a small entity. Whereas for the same patent, if the applicant is a bigger companies like Reliance, Tata, or the whose revenue who are not falling under the first criteria, they have to, for each additional claim, they have to pay 5 times higher fee, 1600. And for each page more than 30, they have to additionally pay the fees of 160 rupees per page. So these are the standard government fees. A claim must be clear, complete, and supported by description. None of your claims should be like that, which is not detailed, right, into the description. Anything which is not disclosed or briefed about into description, you cannot directly place into the claim, right? So it is supported, duly supported by the description, right? Any subjective words like a thin, how much thin, strong, how much strong, a major part, such as, when required, any of them or any other, etc., right? Such words are not allowable as such or entirely into your any of the patent claims. It should be clearly defining the boundaries, right? It should have a clear black and white meaning, right? What is covered or and what is the boundary of this particular line or this particular claim, right? Clear, complete, and avoid of any subjective word which are making confusion towards the clarity of the scope of invention. Look, there are different types of claims. So these are already covered by earlier speakers, so I'm not going to discuss much of them. Independent claim, they are the broadest and standalone. Dependent claims, they are depending on the others, usually on the independent claims, as well as dependent to dependent claims are also there. In the literal part of my slides, there is a one image to define two of them, independent claim and dependent claim, how they are connected. Mean plus function, so functionality of particular feature of the invention. Recital function performed by structures disclosed in the specification instead of specifically defined structure. These are means plus function, they are not structural specific. They discusses about the features. Apparatus claim, so they are based on the constructional aspect, components, right? There is a one very big instrument like a mobile phone itself. Look, so in the mobile they are so compact and so technologically advanced product, like there are so many patents within the one mobile on the different cameras, different charging technology, battery technology, screen technology, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, right? Then the processing of the data, right? All those aspects. So if you are working on one aspect of this entire product, as I said, you doesn't require to build an entire product. Even a small improvement on existing is also patentable. So those are regarded as the apparatus claim, component of the invention, right? Method claim. So method claim, the process, mostly related with the process inventions, right? The processes and steps to provide the output. Composition claim, like say for example, method claim, like say for example, on the present day, the best known or best technically advanced Method available to prepare paracetamol is like a 10-step process requiring a 5 hours reaction time in producing a percentage yield of 80%. Now, if you come up with any different route, right, or if you remove 2 or 3 of the steps from that 10 particular step process and you make it 7 steps, that can be a new patent. If you make a reaction condition in such a way so as to increase that percentage yield from 80% to 85, 90, that can also be a patented. So like these are the method claims. Composition claims, okay, so they are related with the constitution of food product, pharmaceutical products, the paint composition or alloys preparations or anything. What composition of each ingredient is present and how to be mixed and how to be prepared. So the composition claim. Then a use claim. This is also called as a Swiss type claim and Swiss type use claim. So as the example was there, the aspirin, okay, it is used for the body headache and the pain, and later on it is also found like also useful for lipid profile lowering, right? So many countries, few countries are allowing such new use as a patent, but many countries are not allowing. Like in the corona lockdown, the US FDA has declared like azithromycin is also effectively useful for dealing with the coronavirus. Remdesivir is also useful for the treatment of coronavirus. So they are the new use of existing drugs, and such new uses are not patentable into India, right? Look, so those are the traditional form of the claims. The special claims are also there. Omnibus claim, one of them, refer to description and drawing without providing any specific limitation. Like look, an apparatus for harvesting corn as described in the description. A juice machine as shown in the figure 4, right? They are not making the boundary, and such claims, omnibus claims, are not allowed in India, which are giving a direct relation to the description and making a no specific limitations and boundaries. They are not allowed in India, and such claims are known as omnibus claim. Look, Jepson claim, another type of special claim is a Jepson claim. It describes a statement that pertains to a prior art which is followed by claim that an improvement over the prior art. Like look at the point of novelty of invention compared to prior art that exists in particular domain. An apparatus for boiling tea making machine, right? We all know that in every household tea making instruments or devices are there. They are not new, but some person has made a small improvement in it, right? And how he is defining his claim, like an apparatus for boiling tea having XYZ component, handle and the vessel to hold the liquid and boiling, wherein the improvement comprises, right, the heat resistive handle, right, or the hard solid bottom, right, or so as to make it a less energy consumption and getting tea ready at an earlier time, all those aspects. So where the invention is, accordingly you are making, those are called as the Jepson claim. The where the invention is on the prior art based part. The Marcus claim, so they are mainly related to chemistry but not limited to, and they are usually functional equivalent. So look, this is a chemical structure, and usually we say like R3, R2, R3 can be CH3, right, methane, ethane, or benzene ring, or a toluene, or any other, or a halogen materials, right? Or what else can be possible over here? What can be Y, X, and Z? So if you replace this, it is covering a large number of chemicals in it, and such claims are called as the Marcus claims, right? You regard claims, so they are pertaining to software and the software related inventions. right? In which several instructions that are how the computer program may process is the method, the sequence of steps, how the software is going to work. Like, look, in the simplest example, you can say how the software can be patented, what kind of invention. So look, if you just recall before 5 years, if there is a picture and you have to identify from a picture of a 25 people who is sitting there, we are doing manually. But Facebook has developed a technology wherein you are uploading a picture and they identify even a very small face and they identify this face is of XYZ person, right? Software patterns. So how they are identifying the method or instrument or device, how their software is working to even define a very small face and to identify this is of XYZ person. So such type of claims, how it works, method of system and pertaining to software and software related invention are called as such kind of the claims, primarily focusing on providing the function of software over the composition of the software. So look, these are different forms and types of claims. Now a claim itself, okay? So claim, as we said, each claim is of a single sentence, and independent claims are usually of a much bulkier than the dependent claims. Dependent claim can be of 1 line to 3-5 lines, right? Or to some extent of a little larger size of 10-15 lines, okay? Whereas in few of the patents or in many cases you would easily find out like that the independent claim, first independent claim can be of a 1 page, 2 page or a 5 page as well. It can be possible, right? And that entire 5 page is a 1 sentence itself. 1 sentence, 5 page sentence, and that is one claim, right? And how to make it, we will going to discuss into the subsequent side. But whether any of the claim, dependent, independent or any claim, in each claim you will find these 3 parts, preamble, transitional phase and the body, okay? So look, what each phase is. So look, a claim usually consists of 3 parts. Introductory phase. So first it is going to give an introduction, what this claim is about, introduction, for which you are not going to have any exclusive right. It is just a introduction, and that is called as the preamble of claim, right? After preamble, there comes a link that joins the 2 segments, preamble and the body. Introduction, you are giving the, as we said, the heating, the device for the tea making, that is a introduction. Now what are its component and where the invention is? Those are the body of part, and they too are, preamble and body, they too are connected with the transitional phase, joiner, connector. Preamble is the introduction about the claim. Body is the main technical part for which you are going to have the exclusive right, and this is going to be the novel, non-obvious and useful, right? And these two are connected with the help of transition phase. So look here, try to understand these colors, blue and the green. So here is one example of a claim. So look, a tool for opening metal container. So this is the introduction, what your invention is, what your claim is. A tool for opening metal container, right? The tool comprising, this is the connector part. This is preamble, this is connector. This tool is comprising this, and then you can say a mouth, the grip, the controlling opener and closer, all those parts, right? Whatever you are going to include, spindle, spade and all those aspects, those are the body part of your claim. Introduction, preamble, this is a joining part, transitional phase, and the body, the key technical aspect of the claim. So this is the body part, okay? So in each claim you will find these three parts. Now look, preamble. Now try to understand. We are going to discuss about each of the three parts. Okay, what are they? And then we are going to discuss about how to prepare, what are the tactics to be taken care of. So the preamble identifies the category of invention. Right? Look, this is a tool for opening metal container. So this is a tool, product patent. Right? A method to prepare paracetamol. So this is a method, right? A process to transmit the data, process patent. Okay, so this preamble identifies the category of invention, whether this is a apparatus claim, device claim, article claim, composition claim, method claim, or a process claim. So from this part you can identify what would be the nature of this particular patent and invention. This keeps it consistent with the title of invention. Usually, look, as per patent drafting or a claim drafting strategy, or as per the patent prosecution requirement, patent office says that the preamble should be the title of your invention. Exactly the same title of your invention, right? A novel method for paracetamol preparation. Right? A method for data transmission, a tool for bottle opener, a composition of the pharmaceutical formulation, right? So these are consistent, usually the same as the title, may recite an objective of the invention. Here you can identify what would be the objective of invention, data transmission method, data transmission, right? Indication of the nature and the objective. Very small, but you can identify this information from the preamble. Category of invention and the major objective. Second, so example of some preambles. So say for example, your invention is related to the cooking of the rice. Objective is like cooking of the rice. So your claim can be like, look like an apparatus for cooking. Say for your objective is like a cooking all kind of grains. So an apparatus for cooking grains. This is related to grains only. If it is focused, if it is applicable for all kind of varieties, you can say like an apparatus for cooking. So it is not only limiting. If you are writing like a grains, cooking grains, means this is you are limiting the scope of invention only to the grain, right? So each word into the claim is very, very important. How you write it, right? This either increases or reduces your scope, and that the call you have to take as an inventor. Say for example, objective of your invention is to cook vegetable or other food stuff. Any food stuff you can cook using that device. So an apparatus for cooking. Here you are not limiting the scope for vegetable and other. Other is not defining what other means. And anything which is not defining is not allowed into the claim. Right? As you have to be precise and concise. So better to keep it like an apparatus for cooking. Right? If your objective for the invention is like making beverages arising from a plant-based substances, right? Then you can make a preamble like a method for making plant-based beverages. This can be your, that's how you can define, right? For a title of your invention and the preamble of your claims. Right? Now the second part, we discuss about preamble, now come to the second part, transitional phase, connector between the introduction objective part and your invention. This is the transitional phase is usually just one word, but which word you place for your claim is very, very important, and that word either increases the scope of your invention or can limit the scope of your invention. Look, as a patent drafter or as an inventor, you want the largest possible scope of your invention, right? Largest possible. And at the same time, patent office want to give you the patent at the minimum possible patent right, so that others can also practice the same invention, right? So here, how that scope you define, the transition phase plays a very important role. So the transition phase, the connector, what you use is either a open-ended phrase or is a close-ended phrase. Open-ended, so means this increases the scope, right? And the open-ended phrase is like a comprising, a cooking device, a device for cooking food, comprising of, okay? Like including. What other example for a open-ended phrases is like including, containing, and characterize. These are all included or covered in the scope of comprising. Look, this, when you are using the word comprising, importantly understand, this is very important to, fundamentally very important to understand. Do not exclude any additional unrecited element. So say for example, in your claim, you say apparatus comprising 5 components A, B, C, D, E, and you use the word comprising. So here comprising means do not exclude. You mention 5, but using comprising means any 6 element can be possible. I am not denying. If it is there, that will also be covered within the scope of my invention. Right? That's how it increases the scope of your protection. Do not exclude any additional unrecited element. Whatever you not mentioned, it is not excluded. It can be possible, right? They are also to be regarded within the scope of your invention. This, using this word is expand the scope of the claim by allowing other elements and limitations as well. Okay, so let's see some examples, like open-ended comprising, like an apparatus comprising a plurality of printed pages, number of printed pages, a binding configured to hold the printed pages, kind of a binder, and a cover attached to the binding. A cover is placed on the binder. So this is, so we are saying that for this my invention, the pages are there, binder is there, and cover page is there. But comprising means like this is your claim, but I am not saying like that these 3 are there. But if it includes anything else, is that will also be covered within the scope, is to be considered like within the scope of my invention, right? But at the same time, look, if at the same type of comprising, if you use the close-ended phrase, it limits the scope. What you are saying like that? I am saying that in the my apparatus, these only 3 components are there. And if any person makes a new product with these 3 plus 2 more, then he is not within the scope of your invention, right? So this one word is very important to increase the scope of your invention. If by mistakenly, if you write down the close-ended word, it is narrowing down the scope of your invention. Look, we had seen the open-ended is the comprising and the close-ended is consisting. So if without this presentation, if I am asking you the difference between the 2 terms, comprise and consist, make a difference between 2 of them, comprise and consist, right? So we usually say that both are to be considered as the synonyms, one and the same, but in the context of the patent and in the context of a claim drafting, both has a very important and a significant meaning to define the scope of your invention. Comprise is a open-ended, right? And consist is a close-ended. These consisting, close-ended phrase like a consisting limits the scope of claim to nothing more than the specifically recited element. What is mentioned only that is yours, nothing beyond it. Okay, and the claim covers only elements named and nothing more, right? So look at the example of the same invention using the same word. An apparatus consisting of plurality of printed pages, binding configured to hold the printed pages together, and a cover attached to the binding. So the same patent, right? Same claim. If you use the word comprising, you can say these are there, and if something else, that is also mine. But if at the same time, as a patent drafter or a inventor, if you use this word, this actually limits your scope, right? Now the another example, like a consisting of, like a chemical compound consisting of a 50% of component A, 25% of component B, and 25% of component C. So you are defined the presence of any additional component will be excluded. Only these three are there. Even in a percentage manner, it is not there, right? So for a chemical compositions, and that's why you should be very cautious what transitional phase you are defining or using to draft your claim. Now look at this, what I am saying, like a difference between comprising and consisting, right? Comprising, so meaning that includes those features what are written down, but it does not exclude the presence of other features which are not mentioned, right? As long as they do not render the claim unworkable. If they are adding them is making workable, it is of that, right? As long as they do not render the claim unworkable, right? They are also included within the scope of your invention. And the consist of, meaning that then no further features are present except those are listed in the apparatus, method, or product apart from the ones following the said wording. Only they are, right? Comprising. In a particular, if the claim of a chemical compound refers to a consisting of component ABC by the proportion expressed in percentage, the presence of any additional component is excluded, right? And therefore the percentages must add up to 100%, right? This percentage range. But same composition, right? If you are using and writing with a consisting of, and if the total is like a 95%, 98%, then also such claims are acceptable, right? Acceptable. But at the time when you are prosecuting patent, in such cases, patent office can ask you to disclose those 2% or 1% remaining as well. And when you are filing the application with, say, for example, comprising, in the examination as well, patent office will say like mention it as a consisting of, right, rather than a comprising. So you have to negotiate with them in the hearing and examination report, like how it is different. Consisting essentially of and comprising substantially, right? Such words are also can be used. In case of chemical compounds or composition, the use of consisting essentially of. Consisting is a close-ended, but essentially of, or a comprising substantially means that specific further components can be present. Namely those, right? These terms have the same meaning like the comprising, right? So they are. So there are just, you have to understand like these two words, comprising and consisting. Comprising as a broader perspective, consisting as a narrower, limited perspective. Now, the third part of the claim, body of the claim. The preamble is the introduction and objective. The joining part, right? the linking part. It is the that joins the preamble and body, and that defines a close-ended or open-ended and then the body of the claim. This particularly must recite the element and limitations and boundary and the scope of the claim. All the elements, what number of components are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Limitations like this, how they are connected with each other. It is in the range of like this to this range, or this length, weight, percentage, or time, anything. This defines the boundary and the scope of the claim, right? Explains how the different elements exist in relationship with one another, right? Those are the covered under the body part. For example, an apparatus for holding item comprising, this is preamble, this is a joining part, and these are at least one leg, and the top configured to support at least one leg. At least one. At least one means एक भी हो सकता है, एक से ज्यादा भी हो सकता है, 2, 3, 5 भी हो सकता है, but minimum would be one would be there. So again, this is the use of such word is also increasing scope of your invention, right? A top configured to support at least one leg. एक को करेगा, दो को करेगा, किसी एक दो को नहीं भी करेगा, right? So this is how legally you are defining your claims. The body of a claim. Look, this is one more example. This is not merely a list of a part, like list 1, component 1, 2, 3. You have to connect them as well, how they are connected with each other. Look in this invention. This is a racket, simple racket, okay? So for the same, look, a game device, introduction, comprising joining part, a handle, a head portion connected to handle. How head is connected to handle, right? A head connected to handle, and a protrusion being secured to the handle, this part, right? Protrusion, so as to give you a better gripping. Here is the invention part. Okay, so this is how what are different parts. Handle is there, head is there, protrusion is there, and how each part is connected with other. That relationship is also to be mentioned under the claim when you are defining and describing your claims. The claim punctuation. So we discuss about the claim, 3 part, the preamble, joining part, and body. Now for the claim drafting, the claim punctuations, right? They are very important. Where to place a comma, colon, semicolon, and the full stop. They are very important. So look, a comma separates the preamble from the transitional phase, right? A colon separates the transitional phase from the body. Semicolon separates the small paragraphs that define and describe the logical element of the body, and the full stop at the end of claim to define or say like this is where my claim is ending. So in punctuation, you usually find these 4 punctuations into the claim sentence: the comma, colon, semicolon, and the full stop. And this is where you have to use them. Okay, now see with the example how they are used. So look, this is preamble, like a preamble, separate, then a comma, then a transitional phase, and then a colon. Connector, after connector, and this is preamble, joining part, and this is the body. So in the body, if you have element 1, then a colon, a semicolon, then element 2, semicolon, and before the end, last one, you have to connect with an end, last one, and the full stop. If in between any of them, if you are defining like any details, you can mention like a colon, comma, then element 3, characterized in that, like the give a detail, then place a semicolon in the full stop. So this is how you have to use the punctuations for drafting the claims, right? And each has a particular defined meaning in the context of a patent and the claim drafting and its interpretation. The comma, semicolon, colon, and the full stop. Right? This is one real example of one the same claim what we are using. An apparatus. Look, here is the comma. An apparatus comprising then colon a plurality of printed pages semicolon a binding configured to hold the printed pages semicolon and the before the last one if there are 5 you have to place the semicolon and at the end of 4 you are going to place the end. Then a cover attached to binding characterized in that this cover is characterized in that cover is detachable from the binder, right? And where this is ending you have to place this full stop. So with this punctuation in the mind you can build your independent claim of a 1 page, 5 page or 10 page as well, right? If you will refer a patent document, there can be possible a patent document of a 500 page. First independent claim could be of a 5-10 page. It can be possible, right? And at each place, rightly, they have used this punctuations. So look, there is a one really important and interesting case study to understand the importance of this punctuation. Look, India, a killer comma that crashed the Boeing's patent. There is an important case of a patent invalidation between the Boeing and the Airbus. This is the patent at the question, right? They have this Boeing patent, they have misplaced and not rightly placed the comma at right place, and based on that the meaning of entire claim is different, and that's how the Airbus has invalidated the patent of the Boeing. So the small punctuations are very useful. You can refer the same case study available, details of this case study at this particular link, right? So the case study, this is just included to make you understand the importance of these punctuations and wise use of them. Now, a claim proper antecedent basis. Proper antecedent basis. So we have 3 articles: A, N, and the. Okay. Patent also you have to rightly use them. Where to use which one? So elements in the patent claim must have a correct antecedent basis. Use antecedent article like A or N when you are introducing any element for the very first time. But when you are using the same element for a subsequent time in any other claims, you have to use the antecedent like the article the. Use definite article the when referring back to the introduced element. So look, the fundamentals of using them using the same example, right? A game device. So we are using this device, describing it for very first time. So in the preamble, your preamble should start with the article A or N. Then a comprising a handle. You are using handle or defining it for very first time. So a handle. A head portion for very first time connected to the handle. Handle we have defined for the first time, and that's why we are saying the head attached to no other handle than what we have mentioned into the first one, the handle. Characterized in that an anti-slippage means this protruding part is secured to the handle. This is introduced for very first time. Anti-slippage means, right? Now you can say that the handle, the anti-slippage means attached to handle is of XYZ material. The anti-slippage means attached to the handle is of XYZ materials, right? You can define what would be its specifications criteria like this. So these punctuations, right, antecedents, you have to use properly. Right, reference numbers. Again, when you are drafting a claim, usually you will find in the description of drawing, working of an invention, into the drawings as well, numbers are quoted, and into the claims as well, the numbers are mentioned, so that when the user is referring those details in context of a drawing, they can correlate, right? An apparatus. So which apparatus in context of drawing you are saying this one, where it is making relevance, right? In each drawing, which component is representing which part. So those usually, and that's why the numbering systems are also important to be used, right? There is a no rule like that. In each patent, the numbering should start always from a 1. You can start your numbering with a 11, right? You can start numbering with 75. You can start numbering with 101. You can number like A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, say A100, C500, like anything, right? So there is a no defined mechanism, right, or a defined rule to number them, but it is important to number each component into the drawing, into the description, and duly synchronize with the claims as well. This detail, whatever the number and the details you are mentioning over here, the same details should link with the part of description, right? During the examination, during the hearing, you have to mention like, look sir, I have written into claim like here, and in context of refer page number 25 paragraph 3, here I have mentioned the same detail, and he will match. Okay, it is matching the, making the relationship consistency or synchronization or not, right? So those parts you have to take care. Now a claim phrases, right? So apart from the punctuations, then the articles, right, and those A and the articles, you can also use these phrases. The use of special words such as wherein, whereby, such that, to further define the structure, provide a function associated with a given structure, right? An apparatus comprising plurality of printed pages, a binding configured to hold the printed pages together, cover attached to binding, wherein the cover is detachable from the binding, right? To define the structure and give a functional aspect, you can use such phrases word as well, right? You would easily find like the wherein, whereby, such that. These are the repetitive terms or standard terms. All the claims are drafted based upon them, right? So when there are multiple elements into your product, right, multiple elements, so you have to make your claim in such a way like that. You have to give a components, their relationship, how they are connected with each other, what is the role of each component, how perform it, and what are limitations. Like a look, a computer, like this is the example, like a computer comprising a processor, a memory, and a bus configured to transmit data between the memory and the processor. So you have used processor and memory, yes, they are there, but as a method claim, system claim, in your entire invention, there is also a bus, and you made a relationship of a bus with the other components. Bus configured to transmit the data between the memory and the processor. Okay, like this. So multiple elements and the relationship you have to establish. So there are certain examples to showcase the same, like all these together, like articles, preamble, joining part, and these antecedents, right? All that. So look, this is an apparatus. So the first part, this in the green color, an apparatus. This is the preamble apparatus. So you can say that this is the product claim. An apparatus, and for the very first time you are using. So you are mentioning the antecedent article like the an article, comprising, then a comma, and comprising is a joining transitional phrase, comprising is a open-ended, right? And then after comprising, you are mentioning the colon, right? And after comprising, there are a list of different multiple components. The first time, an apparatus comprising a pencil, first time, so a pencil, then a semicolon, an eraser attached to one end of the pencil. There is a pencil and the eraser is attached to one of the end of the pencil. So eraser for a first time, so an eraser and attached to one end of the pencil. Then a semicolon, then n, and you are saying a light attached to the center of the pencil, right? And when it is ending, you are mentioning the full stop, right? So here all these parts, like how, what are they, where those are to be placed, right? And when to you convert, the A converts to the and all those aspects, right? Similarly, look, a headgear apparatus method, a product claim comprising like a headband member having a frontal portion, a visor member removably secured to said frontal portion. Said means exactly, said is to be equivalent to the, right? Secured to the frontal portion, that is also fine, right? To the said of the said headband, and an eye-shield member removably secured to said frontal portion of said headband. So this is first independent claim, right? First independent claim. Head apparatus, headband member, visor member, where it is connected, and the eye shield, like these are the components. First independent claim, the broadest. This stands itself alone, and that's why it is called an independent claim. Now look, multiples of other dependent to the same, or headgear apparatus. So here it is wrongly represented, but it should be the headgear apparatus as in claim 1 or as claimed in claim 1, wherein, right, wherein it is a connector part, wherein said eye shield member is adjustable with respect to said headband member, right? Or headgear apparatus as claimed in claim 1, wherein said visor member and said eye shield member are secured to said frontal portion. So look, this is dependent on claim 1. Apparatus as claimed in claim 1, whereas these are its sub features. As claimed in claim 1, this is its sub feature. This is the dependent claim of the claim 1. As claimed in claim 2, it is this, wherein said headband member is formed from neoprene fabric, right? A headgear apparatus is claimed in claim 3, wherein a head, a continuous band of a sealant material is placed on the said headband material. So this is how the dependent and independent claims are formed, right? Now this is the aspect with respect to the dependent and independent claims, subset and superset. So look at the largest is the superset, right? Superset is the independent claim, and all of its dependent claim, right? They are the dependent claim on the claim 1 or independent claims, and this is also the dependent to dependent claim. This is dependent on particular claim and which is ultimately dependent on independent claim. So this is how the independent claim, this is a standalone, and based on this you formulate multiples of the dependent claims. Now how to read the claims, right? So with this all background, right, how the claims are there, which punctuations are to be used, what are the joining parts, right, all these. And these are the standard words, said, comprising, wherein, look upon definition, like so. Wherever is the said, you can consider like the, Wherever is comprising, it includes, which is to be comprised, like including. These are, and others can also be possible, including. But if it is a consisting, only them, no others, right? Wherein means to be considered and, right? Look up definition of unfamiliar words in the specification and dictionary, like a distal end of, one end of, proximate, right? So what are them? They are also the standard words, and the practitioners use them so as to make the terminology of a claims in the form, the concise, precise, and legal definition of the claims, right? So how to, the tips to draft a patent claim, like a claim must be a specific and not general, right? It should be specific, concise, and precise. It should not be general, unclear, speculative, or hypothetical, right? The description must back up the claims. Whatever you are writing in a claims must be supported and defined and described into the description. Each assertion should be a single phrase that in a well written, one claim, only one sentence, only one full stop, at the end only. A full specifications claim must pertain to single invention or a series of innovations connected together or constitute a single inventive concept. One patent, one invention. You cannot, right? Making a patent is a costlier affair, right? A government fee and professional fee. So being a smart people, you cannot say like that, to save a cost, I will file 3, 4, 5 inventions into one patent and file one application. So that is not allowable, because this is also a legal requirement. One patent, one invention, right? If you club 2 or more inventions during examination, the patent office will give you order to divide them, make the divisional application. Each assertion should be specific and should not be repeated, right? Each assertion should be specific and should not be repeated. So one features only one time, it should not be repetitive. Only claims are granted rights, right? Not any matter mentioned in entire specification. So anything supported in the part of description is just a supportive, and that is not your ownership. Only what is present in the claim and how you represent it is only your property. Even though there is a very novel feature, you detailed it in specification, which is itself is a patentable, novel, non-obvious, and applicability. But if you miss to add that feature into claim, you will not have an exclusive right for that particular part of invention, right? So that's why only claims are your ownership right, right? And claims determine the bound of legal protection and serve as a barrier to innovation. It defines the boundary. What is mentioned is it, only that part within that circle is yours. Out of that boundary, anything possible out of that boundary is not your patent right, and any person who is working out of that boundary limit is not infringing your patent rights, right? So with this, I just would like to conclude my session over here. If any person has any questions, they can write email, or they can always send an email through the organizers. Thank you all.
So thank you very much, Amitji. I think there is a resound. I don't know. 1 second.
Yes, yes. You are audible and visible.
I'm audible, na?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So thank you very much, Amitji, and it was a very wonderful and very detailed session on patent claims. You have nicely covered almost all aspects, like what kind of terminologies we need to use, the wordings, their significance, and how to frame the claim, the importance of main and independent claims, and different type of examples that you have taken are very simple to understand because we have participations from different subject domains. Engineers are there, doctors are there, scientists are there, researchers are there, people from economy, commerce, arts, you name any subject, yes, everyone is there. So even people from linguistic background, so faculties of English, students of English research, so all mixed kind of participations are there. I think with your session, everyone could get some decent insights on the importance of claims, how to construct the claims, and what are the languages that they need to use and what are the language that they should not use.
True.
And the examples are also very, very
true. That's why I take a simple example which can be understood. We need to understand the fundamentals of claim drafting. If I first itself take a complex subject matter and then I am making understand this fundamental, many people would not connect with what I want to say and what are the fundamentals.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So that's why I took the simplest example to make this understand.
True. 100% agreed. Because you see in the chat box, like huge appreciation is going on. Thank you for your valuable and highly informative session on patent claims. Very useful session by Mr. Amitkumar Patel sir. A very good lecture explaining each parts to design the claims in very lucid manner. Very interesting, informative session. Very well explained. Superb session. I think huge appreciation is going on, Amitji. I understand. Of course, I know you, and you are very good at conducting the sessions because you have got huge experience. At least several of your students are my good friends or juniors, students here and there. Whenever they see my brochure, sir, do you know Amit sir? We also know him. We got training from him. These are the words that I hear from them. So
thank you, sir. Good to hear.
Amit, I'll just check MS Teams chart if there are any queries. I think the way you explained is very commendable. People now they understood. They need to practice. They need to put their understanding into practice. Once they start practicing, maybe they may get queries. Otherwise, as of now, everything is very much clear.
True. Right.
So we'll wait for a minute or so. If there are any queries from the participants, you can post them on the chat box so that I can raise them to Amit. I think huge appreciation is going on. Everyone is very happy.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm really thankful to all the participants for your good feedback. Right.
Very detailed and informative talk. Even our CSR colleagues from different labs, they were also listening to you. They are the IP coordinators at different CSR labs. So in fact, I could get a few requests to send the joining link.
Okay.
To share with them. So then I think this
and,
itself
this time, Pawan sir, you really did a good job to make it live on YouTube. So it would be in a repository and it can be accessible anytime.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It would be much useful.
Much useful because IP awareness has to be taken with a greater interest in our practices. Unless and otherwise we bring in awareness, we may not see results in contributions, right?
Very true.
And people are also asking, Amitji, do you have any YouTube channel? Maybe you have to open a YouTube channel if you don't have. If you are having it, please share the link. Otherwise, you have to open it.
No, yeah, I do not have any YouTube channel, right? But with the help of Pawanji and other friends, look, if they are making a content YouTube available, right, that serves the same purpose.
Right. Definitely, we look forward to our continued association. Of course, we are very good friends, and you will be there in all our programs.
Yes.
The participant, if any participant is attending this program since last 2 or 3 years, they would certainly come to know about this. And that is how I keep changing topic for you so that we get more inputs from your end.
Yes, and itself, look, this is a challenge for myself. I have never prepared for such topic. I practiced it, but to make it understand, I also have to work. I work for at least about 1 or 2 days on the subject matter. so that I make it, and now this is a good learning resource. I can also represent to other aspects.
Yes,
So
yes.
whenever you give a new topic to me, it makes a challenge for me.
So this time specifically, I opted this topic for you because I know that you will spend more time. You have patience. Even I will read one more comment here. Very useful and informative session with detailed information. Thanks to the speaker for his patience in explaining and making everyone to understand it easily. It would be really helpful if you create YouTube channel. I think everyone is now your fan. You need to make a YouTube channel. Otherwise, they are not going to leave you. There are so many suggestions for you to make the YouTube channel.
Sure, sure. So we'll definitely will look forward and think into that direction. Thank you very
And
much.
participants, whenever you have any queries or if you need any support regarding patent filing, drafting these aspects, you can definitely write to Mr. Amit. He would be of great help to you all.
Yes.
So Amitji, thank you very much. And we are very happy. And with this happy note, we'll conclude our day 3 program of NeW IPR 2023. So Amitji, thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pawanji, and thank you very much, all participants. Thank you all. Good day.
Thank you. So, dear participants, with this, I think the time has come to conclude our day 3. Hope you all got decent inputs from 4 sessions on day 3, covering almost all aspects of patent drafting, including the disclosure, claims, and more specifically the claims, which is considered to be the heart of a patent. So thank you all, and let us close the program here for today, and see you all tomorrow morning 10 a.m. sharp. And tomorrow is the session on patent search. There will be 4 lectures covering the various aspects of patent searching. Thank you all. Thank you, Amitji, once again.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.